Check each and everything meticulously. Don't touch anything with your bare hands. Namjoon instructed the investigation team as he wore his own gloves. This was the second time they were searching Wan's apartment for any clue. They nodded in unison and departed in different corners to continue their research. Namjoon's eyes went to the polythene bag on the center table. As Wine told him earlier, there was a packet of pasta inside it. His eyes shifted towards the blood stains in the middle of the living area, the exact same spot where the cops had found Joshua's dead body. The blood had dried by now, but it was left untouched for investigation. Stepping inside the kitchen, he was welcomed by the sight of pasta ingredients displayed on the kitchen island. The finely chopped veggies were in different bowls, the required sauce bottles beside them. He scanned the whole kitchen with sharp eyes until his gaze stopped at knife stand. Walking over to it, he collected the knives out of it, putting them in different evidence pack. Did you find something? He asked as soon as he stepped inside his office. Hoshi turned on his chair and shook his head. Vian's confession matched with the timestamp. She visited a convenience store and come back with plastic bag. Apart from that, there is no suspicious activity. I asked you to dig about her background. Did you do it? He asked as he walked over to his table and settled down on his chair. Hoshi rose from his spot. Carrying a bunch of papers, he stepped towards Namjoon and handed them to him. Lee Wine, 23 years old medical student. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, are both lawyers. She has an elder brother who is also a lawyer like her parents. Her parents wanted her to pursue the family occupation, but she chose to study medicine. Her parents denied it to support her. Since that day, she is living alone. She works at a cafe to pay for her bills. Namjoon nodded, feeling angry on her parents for abandoning their own daughter just because she didn't want to pursue law. As you asked earlier, I visited her college and talked to her classmates. They were shocked to hear about this news. Wine was calm and kind soul. They said she couldn't do anything like this. What about the anonymous caller? Did you collect the PC or CCTV footage? Any clue about him? Namjoon said and frowned when Hobie turned serious all of the sudden. Mr. Kim, there is something fishy. Namjoon raised his eyebrows, awaiting him to continue further. I checked the footage thrice, but there was no one in the PCO at the time the cops got a call. Hoshi explained and Namjoon straightened up, hearing the newfound information. There are two possibilities. Either the CCTV footage is altered or there wasn't any caller. Do you mean the cops are lying? Could they be involved in this crime? There's possibility of this. Money can make anyone blind. That's why they barely searched Ryan's house and directly put allegations on her. At this point, you are suspecting every being you are coming across. How will we solve this mystery if we can't decide the direction of our investigation? He whined as he could see the forthcoming tiring and heavily busted by weeks. Nobody can be trusted. Every being is a suspect until we catch the real culprit. This is getting more complicated, he murmured to himself as he leaned against his working table and crossed his arms on his chest. His round reading glasses sat on his nose, the upper two buttons of his shirt undone, the third one struggling to hide his muscular chest, and hair disheveled by the number of times he had ran his hands through them. He looked around his office, which was filled with the photographs of the crime spot and sticky notes with some details written on them. During the 4 weeks investigation, he didn't left a single stone unturned, but the situation was still the same. He was still empty-handed, with no solid proof or no clue that lead him to the real culprit. Sir Good, what is all this? He halted, looking around the office before his eyes stopped at his superior. He sighed, seeing him in the same clothes from last night. You didn't go home, did you? Something is just not adding up, Hoshi. Something is missing. The case is not what it looks like. Namjoon frowned, contemplating about the case. I feel the same. It feels like we found everything, yet nothing. We only saw Wyan going and coming in her apartment. There is no sign of Joshua. He just didn't magically appear in her apartment. We are clear at this point that the footage is altered and deleted. Namjoon slid the pen drive aside, noting one doubt. And when cops arrested Wyan, her hands and her clothes were clean. There was not a single stain of blood. Also, we haven't found any blooded cloth in her house. Namjoon voiced out his second doubt. And the most important part, where's the murder weapon? The knives I collected from Wine's house came out clean. Additionally, we have no information about the anonymous caller. We don't know if there was someone or not. The two cops are stuck at the speech that someone called them and informed them. Out and out, it has become an inescapable tangled web. Namjoon pinched his nose and let out a frustrated sigh. We have enough evidences to prove Wine innocent, but that's not it. We need the real culprit. The hearing is after 3 days, and we are still empty handed. He let out an exasperated sigh and slumped down on his chair. Hoshi occupied the chair across him. They sat in silence, brainstorming the whole thing from beginning. There should be a single loophole, a single mistake that the culprit left behind. Perfection does not exist in mundane world. He mumbled and threw his head back as he leaned against the chair. The sleepless nights and busy days had exhausted his body, but the mental exhaustion he felt for not approaching the end was overpowering the physical tiredness. We had rummaged through everywhere, from Wine's apartment to every dumpster nearby the area, inquired every person we came across, watched the footage countless times. Wait, what about the guy who was supposed to retrieve the deleted data? He became animated as he saw new hope sprouting inside. I have contacted him. He will provide it in the evening. Okay, Hoshi, can you bring? He halted when his phone went off. He reached out for it and frowned, seeing an unknown number. Yes, prosecutor Kimnamjoon. Yes, how may I help you? No, sir. At this moment, I think you need help. I have something which you need. I know who the real murderer is, and I even have the witness evidence for it. Namjoon jolted up, hearing him. Can I know your name? Name doesn't matter, Mr. Kim. The proof does. If you want the evidence, come to the address I have texted you just now. And remember, come alone, or else be ready to say goodbye to the evidence. Hey, but before Namjoon could say anything, the unknown man had already disconnected the call. Just as the call disconnected, Namjoon's phone pinged with a notification. It was a text from the same anonymous caller. What happened, sir? What was it? Someone we had been searching for. Hoshi gasped and gaped at him with open mouth. You mean the murderer? Maybe. He called me to meet him alone. There is a possibility he could be the one. What? No, I'm not letting you go alone. I'll accompany you. Don't be silly, Hoshi. This is the only way to reach the criminal. I don't want to risk this chance. I'll go alone, he uttered as he removed his suit jacket from the chair and threw it on. I don't doubt your strength, Mr. Kim, but I'll die here out of worry and excitement. Please let me tag along. I'll hide in the car trunk and attack him at the right moment. Think again. I'm not responsible if you lose your life for pulling the stunt. Don't haunt me after becoming a ghost. I will haunt you. He gave a tight-lipped smile and moved towards the door. Come on, Mr. Kim, we are getting late. We don't want to miss the chance of losing a real culprit. Why would he call you at such a deserted place? Hoshi asked Namjoon through the Bluetooth that kept them connected. He is not taking me out on a date. We are here for a serious matter, so kindly shut up, or you want me to shut you up. Namjoon gritted out. Hoshi mumbled a small apology and shifted in the car trunk in a position where he could easily spot Namjoon. Namjoon quickly left a text to the caller and stood there, awaiting for his arrival. After a few moments, Namjoon spotted a masked man coming in his direction. His face was hidden behind the mask and his hoodie cap. Don't do something stupid. Stay wherever you are, Namjoon whispered, warning Hoshi. Prosecutor came. Yes, I am. Where's the evidence? And who are you? He asked, but clenched his jaw next second when he noticed Hoshi getting out of the car and skidding in their direction. He warned him through his eyes, but Hoshi, being Hoshi, remained unbothered by his glare. He sneaked behind the anonymous man and grabbed him from behind. You murderer! How dare you frame an innocent soul? And here you are roaming freely when you should be where Levine is. Hoshi held him in headlock, and Namjoon was surprised to see his strength. The man was struggling to get out of his grip, throwing blows on his arm, but Hoshi didn't budge even an inch. "Reveal your face, Mr. Murderer," he said, and removed his cap followed by his mask. Namjoon observed his face keenly. He wasn't from any of the one they had been doubting. He was someone unknown. "You somewhat look familiar. Did we meet before?" he asked as he gestured Hoshi to leave him. Hoshi loosened his grip, and the boy panted heavily. "I am Hyunjin. I live in the building opposite to Ryan Nona's apartment, and I am not the one you are looking for. I really know who killed Joshua, and I have proof for it." "Really? Then why did you dress up like this?" "Because I don't want anyone to find out that I helped you. I am scared for my life." "Quit this interview and tell me, what do you know about the killer and what proof do you have? And I swear if you called me here to waste my time, I'm going to rip your throat apart." Namjoon threatened him. The poor boy gulped, getting scared by his cold gaze. "I am a photographer, and the murder night was full moon night. To click some pictures of moon, I set my camera on recording and went to sleep. But somehow the camera tilted and faced Nuna's apartment. Unknowingly, I recorded the crime happening." "What? You have the recording? As in live footage of the murder?" Hyunjin nodded. Namjoon stayed silent, observing Hyunjin's body language. He seemed innocent. "Are you sure you're recording moon and not stalking Wyan like a pervert?" He crooked his eyebrows and darted a stern look at Hyunjin. "Oh no, I can never think like this. She's like my elder sister. She's the one who convinced my father to let me be a photographer. If today I'm leaving my passion, it is because of her. I just want to help her. That's why I'm here." "Then where were you till now? I guess you know the truth for almost a month. Why did you suddenly decide to be saint?" "I was scared. The murderer is still roaming around the area. But then I realized if I kept silent, Nona would probably be the scapegoat for someone else's deeds. That's why I approached you for help. Here's the recording." He forwarded a camera to Namjoon. Hoshi slid beside Namjoon to watch the recording. At the end, they were left with shock and disbelief. "Wow, it feels like we are the characters of some mystery novel, and there's this big plot twist nobody thought. The real killer is someone we had never thought could be. That's why I was saying we can't trust anyone at this point." Prosecutor Kim, "Please prove my Nona innocent. She suffered for nothing. Don't worry. I appreciate your help. Lee Wyan will be free after 3 days, and the real culprit will be punished. I can't wait for the hearing." He smirked and gazed at the camera in his hands. "Your Honor, I would like Mr. Han to go first. If he had found any evidences, he can show to the court. I will take longer because I have a lot to say and show," he said after the judge and jury took their place. "Attorney Han, initiate the court proceedings," the judge announced. Mr. Han stood up with a gloomy face and shook his head. "I apologize, Your Honor, but I don't have anything to say in my client's favor. I couldn't find any evidences that prove she is innocent." I looked up and her eyes locked with Namjoon's. She looked at him with hope, a hope that sprouted inside her the day when she met him for the first time. "Never mind. Take your seat, Mr. Han. I have plenty of evidences." Mr. Han sat down on a chair, releasing a defeated sigh. "Let's start from the beginning, Your Honor. Nobody knows how did Joshua's dead body came in Lee Wan's apartment. The cops did try to find the murder weapon. There's no information about the anonymous caller." He presented a few questions in front of the court. His face was glowing with utter confidence, the type of confidence which said the case is going to close today. "This is the murder weapon, and here is its forensic report." Namjoon forwarded an evidence bag with blood-stained knife and some papers towards the judge. "The report clearly says the blood is of Joshua and the fingerprints on the knife is of his father, Mr. Lim." The people present there gasped hearing the newfound information. Their accusing gaze shifted to Mr. Lim, who was sweating profusely. "But this is the half truth. There is more to go. Your Honor, This is the footage of Joshua entering inside Vine's apartment building, which got deleted, or would I say someone deleted it? A clip in which Joshua was seen entering inside the building. Behind him was his father, and there was another man whose face was hidden beneath a mask. I have the confession of the hacker who hacked the security cameras and deleted the footage. Not only this, but he deleted the footage of all the cameras nearby. Before I play the hacker's confession clip, there is something I want to show you. He smuggled and played the murder clip in which Joshua's father and another man could be seen stabbing him mercilessly. The face of the masked man was visible in the clip. The judge was in utter shock after seeing the brutality of both men, especially the other not so unfamiliar person. I would like to present one last evidence before the court. Namjoon said, and the people there sat in utter shock, still processing the series of newfound informations. This is the second knife, and its forensic reports prove the fingerprints on it was of none other than Mr. Han, the childhood best friend of Mr. Lim. Everyone's eyes turned to Mr. Han, who sat there with pale face, sweat beads trailed down from his forehead to his chin. Seeing the hacker inside, two cops dragged a man in his mid-twenties. Mr. Han and Mr. Lim looked down as their deeds were left in open, still unfolding before everyone's eyes. Let me introduce Mr. Hacker, Jungwoo, the lovely son of Mr. Han. These are the real culprits, Your Honor. A skilled hacker, a smart attorney, and a wicked businessman. I wonder why Joshua was the only sane person among these evils, but sadly, they didn't let him leave. Namjoon shook his head and turned towards the judge. Your Honor, I presented when and how did the crime took place, but the reason is still unknown. Only the culprits can tell the reason of their deeds. I would like to call the two dearest best friends in the pavilion. Permission granted. Mr. Lim and Mr. Han both stepped in the pavilion and stood side by side. Yes, Mr. Lim and Mr. Han, without wasting any more time of the court, start explaining. They exchanged glances and decided to reveal the truth. Joshua never wanted to be a businessman. He liked to paint. But I know there is no future in painting, and for whom I built the billions worth empire. After my incessant pestering, he took over my position. He was handling business, I was also happy. But then he somehow got to know about my legal business. We had a huge fight that night, and he left the house saying he would not handle any legal business. Han was there with me at that time. We followed him. He went to meet Vine, the girl I despised the most. She had been manipulating him to pursue his painting career. She diverted his mind from business to painting. He spat with rage and disgust. Han and I were both drunk and enraged at that time. We were blinded by anger and killed him. He sighed after explaining the whole scenario. What was the reason behind dragging Vine in all of this? She is the daughter of that Lee, the person I hate the most. Her father insulted me during my initial days of service. The humiliation is still deeply rooted in my heart. That was the good opportunity to take revenge on him. So we made a plan and framed her in this crime. I willingly took her case. The plan was to show no evidences in her defense and then she would be punished. My revenge would be fulfilled and no one would doubt us. The plan was indeed great, Mr. Hunt, but you guys left a lot of loopholes. The culprit can never escape from the clutches of law. Today or tomorrow, one day, he or she has to be punished for his or her deeds. And you, Mr. Lim, you hid the murder weapons behind your son's painting. What a lovely father. Namjoon said and chuckled mockingly. By the way, who was the anonymous caller? There was no anonymous caller. I was the one who called the cops. The two cops are our men. They buried the cases against our illegal business. He said, and Namjoon shook his head helplessly. We don't think there is anything more we need. The culprits are in front of the court with solid evidences. We await for your decree, Your Honor. Namjoon bowed and sat on his desk. Meanwhile, Vaya stood at the corner, her body numb and mind blank. The truth was too much for her to take in. For the first time in my career, I am speechless. I never expected someone from our field committing such a horrendous crime. He sighed and picked his pen. Mr. Lim, Mr. Han, and Han Jung-woo are found guilty for the murder of Lim Joshua. The court announced life imprisonment for the three of them. The two cops who are accused for being involved in illegal activities, the court announced to dig deeper about their action and take them in custody immediately. Their punishment will be declared in the next hearing. As the real culprits are caught, all the charges on Lee Wine are expelled. The court announced her as innocent. The court is adjourned. He hammered the glaive against the mallet and exited the courtroom. The cops handcuffed the three culprits and dragged them away. John let out a relieved sigh. This case left a restless feeling inside everyone's heart. Sir, you were amazing. I look up at you. I wish I can be like you someday. Namjoon shook his head at his never-ending blabbering and collected his stuff. Rolled out of the court, her body numb and mind blank. She couldn't hear or feel anything. She flinched when a group of reporters surrounded her, making it difficult for her to walk further. The sound muffled in the background as she was her lips moving and camera flashes blinding her eyes. Murderer, killer, culprit. The words she had been hearing since last month rang in her ear. Their gaze felt hard, as if accusing her for the crime she never committed. I didn't. I didn't do anything. She mumbled as tears started trickling down her cheeks without her knowing. She was weeping silently, shaking her head again and again. She was trembling. The accusations, the horrible time, the disgust-filled gaze flashes before her eyes. I didn't kill him. I am not the killer. Stepped back, away from the reporters, but they kept towering over her. She stumbled and about to fall down. However, two strong arms held her on time and supported her by her shoulder. Tears streaking her face, she looked up and found Namjoon glaring at the reporters. Don't you guys have some etiquettes? Move! In a stern voice, the reporters instantly stepped aside, giving him way to walk out. He held Vine by her shoulder and escorted her towards his car. Get inside, I'll drop you at your apartment. She got inside the passenger seat and he settled down on the driver's seat. Namjoon and Vine en route to her apartment. Namjoon was occasionally glancing at Vine, who was looking out of the window aimlessly. Drop me near the bridge, she mumbled. Namjoon frowned hearing her. Why? Do you live under the bridge? He tried to joke and cringed inwardly due to how awful it sounded. Vine stayed silent, her face devoid of any emotion. I don't want to leave anymore. Abruptly pressed the brake, hearing her. He snapped his head towards her. What? What did you say? I think I heard something wrong. I want to die. I don't want to live anymore. Turned her head towards him. Tears again rolled down her cheeks. Hey, you are innocent. The real culprits are behind the bar. Don't think like this, he uttered gently and wondered if his voice could ever be that soft. Does it change anything? The people still see me as a killer. Their accusing gaze burn my skin. They have stamped the tag of murderer on my forehead. No matter who the real culprit is, I can never get back what I lost. People will despise my presence. I won't be able to get a job or work peacefully without people calling me names. What is the use of living a life which feels nothing but a burden? At least I can die peacefully on my wish. She vented out her bottled up frustration. It wasn't easy for her to pass the 1 month, which was nothing but hell. Let the people think whatever they want to. That's their job. You came out clean. The court proved you innocent. You don't have to look down at yourself. But what was my fault? Why do I have to suffer? She sobbed. Namjoon's eyes softened seeing her broken state. Cry or shout or vent out your frustration, but promise me, you will never think of ending your life ever again. Extended his hand towards her. You are a strong woman. I had never seen someone standing firm in this kind of situation. Promise me you will never let your weakness take over your strength. Your life is too precious to end. He eyed his hand. Wyatt looked between his face and his palm, absorbing his words slowly. She hesitantly placed her palm on his outstretched hand. I promise, she whispered and smiled amidst her tears. Namjoon's lips twisted into a subtle smile, and his free hand reached out to wipe her tears. Our country needs passionate doctors like you who believe in saving lives instead of ending. I guess you know how precious life is. You have dreams to accomplish. Don't let a bad phase of your life ruin the rest of good part of your life. He smiled. His smile widened when she nodded, smiling back at him. Has he gone mad? He whispered to himself, seeing his superior smiling with closed eyes. He slowly skated towards him and waved his hand in front of his face. Is he sleeping? He murmured and poked his nose. Prosecutor Kim, are you okay? Namjoon shot his eyes open and pinned him to his desk the next moment. It's me, your good for nothing assistant. He mumbled, struggling to breathe as Namjoon had choked him. Namjoon huffed in irritation and loosened his grip. What were you trying to do? Nothing. I was checking if you were sleeping, he muttered, rubbing his neck. Mr. Kim, do you have a girlfriend, or wife, or crush, or do you like someone? He grinned when Namjoon gave him side eye. Why would you ask? I saw you smiling. The smile a man gave when he is in love. Are you in love with someone? There is nothing like that. He shrugged and slumped down on his chair, avoiding Hoshi's teasing gaze. Now you will hide things from me. Ain't I your true supporter? Tell me who is it? Namjoon sighed, knowing there is no escape from him. Leave Ayan. I don't know, but she is on my mind all the time. I couldn't concentrate on my work. It's been 1 month since the case ended, but I just couldn't stop thinking about her. There's something that held me captive. She's different. Oh, that's why you were visiting her every week. I can't believe you are in love. He cupped his face and blinked dramatically. Namjoon rolled his eyes. Will you stop behaving like other species? Mr. Kim, confess to her. Are you crazy? What if she rejected me? Ain't no way I'm confessing. I'm a strong prosecutor, but still I'm afraid of getting slapped by her. If it mean to be, it will happen naturally. He picked a random file to avoid this topic, but Hoshi snatched the file away from him. If you sit here relying on destiny, you will turn old and she will be the grandma of probably a dozen of children. Man up and confess, Kim Namjoon. Namjoon hummed and tilted his head, giving him a stern look. Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to boost your confidence. Namjoon came in the park knowing Wyan would be here. He spotted her sitting alone staring at the sunset side. She was trying to move on from the incident, but still it had affected her deeply. Hey doctor. He greeted and sat beside her. She looked at him and smiled. I am not a doctor, not yet, but I believe you will be a great doctor. He smiled at her. The one thing he noticed that he had been smiling more often nowadays. They sat in silence, staring at the pinkish orange sky. Gentle breeze brushed past them, giving away a sensation of tranquility and peace. What do you think about being friends with me? He said after a pause. She looked at him and chuckled bitterly. Are you making fun of me, Mr. Kim? Don't you know what one friendship cost me? Her lips twisted into a small, almost pained smile. Her reaction insinuated she was not over the traumatic incident, and she would not be over it anytime soon. Every person and every friendship is different, Ryan. What if it turns out beautiful? Friends, don't worry, I'm a prosecutor and spend 1 hour at gym daily. I'm quite a strong man, so I can protect myself and you too. He whispered as if he was telling a secret. She chuckled at his buffoonish antics and intertwined her little finger with its outstretched one. Friends, there's something about you and your talks that I can't deny you, she confessed with sincerity, his smile showing his dimples. I don't say it often, but it's quite hard to resist my charm. Vine laughed at his remark. Their evening continued with heartfelt talks and lively laughter. She was broken, and forcing a relationship on her wasn't something Namjoon desired to do. He wanted to be her friend, a friend she could rely on anytime. He wanted to mend her hurt before claiming his rights on it.